These are the great wing shooting destinations of the world, steeped in tradition, offering the pinnacle of shotgun sport. Tour the planet with us.
Hi, I'm Chris Barther and welcome to Orvis Sand and Honor in upstate New York. This weekend they're host to the Vintage Cup, an annual celebration by thousands of wing shooting enthusiasts.
This is a weekend to go back in time, all the way back to the era of Edwardian England, to celebrate the clothing, the shooting, and most of all, the finest in side-by-side shotguns.
It's very difficult to describe the atmosphere. All I can tell you, it has just got a hum. It's just everybody is so enthusiastic and happy. Even though there's competitions, the fact of the matter is that they're friendly competitions. On the Sunday, they have this ritual of the scorecard burning. So if you aren't competitive, they have a little bonfire going where you can just walk up and throw your scorecard in. That sort of is the epitome. Great food, banquets, cocktail parties. Some of the greatest gun makers of the world. This time alone, there must be 11 or 12 people from all over the world. There's Chapius from France, Famars from Italy. You have Purdy, Hollands, Aspreys of London, Atkin, Grant and Lang of London. I should imagine there's more fine guns in this one small show annually than you'd find anywhere else in the USA of America. It truly is a very special event and one that I savour to come to every year. Just at the beginning of fall and the hunting season start, it's probably a great way to hone your skills on the double gun events and the replica of upland bird shooting that the event offers.
It's not really a shoot. We consider it a, how do I want to say it? It's a social event with guns and food and good wine and most of all great people. We are known as the Vintagers, but our real name is Vintagers Order of Edwardian Gunners. And the reason is that at the time, way back when, in the turn of not this last century but the century prior, let's say about 1900 or so, the gun and shooting was all the fabric of society. And Edward was in the forefront. His mom said he couldn't do anything. He didn't give him a job, so what was he going to do? He was going to go out and play. And he went, and wherever the king went, of course, you had a whole bunch of people who were following. And so it started, and it was grand and lavish, and the gun was central. Hunting, shooting was central to the fabric of society at that time. So we'd like to reflect that, and we try to do that in our own doings.
The Vintage Cup is a weekend of fun and games, but the intensity of some of the games borders on real work, and the shooters need all the help they can get.
4 minutes, as many as you can hit.
Ready!
This is the flurry. 200 targets pass overhead in 4 minutes. Success relies as much on teamwork as it does on good shooting.
It's just exciting. All aspects of it are exciting. You don't have time to think about anything that's not exciting. It was great fun. And of course the exertion and the thrill of doing it evoked some perspiration from me.
A strategy of alternating 2 shots and 2 shots just doesn't work because you get out of sync with the reloading and the shooting. So we shoot targets mostly on your side and as quickly as you can.
Woo! That was fun! Woo! Good girl, Kath. Good girl. You did very well. Mwah.
I enjoyed it because I didn't make any really serious faux pas. Had I really goofed up, I think might have endangered our 36-year marriage.
This kind of shooting sportsman magazine come to life. We see a lot of our advertisers here, wonderful destinations and gun makers, as well as a lot of our readers. That's how the audience finds out about the event, and it's great to socialize with people and get feedback on the magazine and see what's going on in the industry. This is kind of putting our finger on the pulse of what's going on in wing shooting.
As far as it is from the minds of Vintage Cup participants, the modern-day skyline of New York City lies just 60 miles south of the Orvis Sandinona shooting grounds. It's hard to believe that this world-class shooting facility is so close to the city. Orvis Sandinona is the oldest permitted shooting club in the United States, operating as a shooting preserve since 1907. Its sporting clays course, challenging and beautiful, is recognized worldwide as one of the best, making it the perfect place to hold the Vintage Cup.
It's a George Massue 16 gauge side lever hammer. It was number 2 of a pair, and it's from about 1878. I went to a gun show in Sanford, North Carolina, the Southern Side-by-Side, and an English dealer brought it over. And I was looking for a 16 hammer gun, and I looked at it and said, that's a fair price. And that's where I got it.
Len?
A great thing about the competition aspect of it is that the people out there, they're in their traditional clothing, they're using these old guns, often small gauges, 410s, 28s, 20s. The results, the actual score doesn't seem to matter. They're just out there having a great fun and enjoying the camaraderie and the event. Well, what is even nicer is that Orvis join in with this, and they put targets on that are realistic replications of what you would find upland bird hunting and, some European driven shooting, decoy, dissector. It makes the whole flavour of the competitions just one of just great fun.
We at Orvis Sandinona feel we have one of the top shooting facilities in the country. We were ranked by Grays a few years back as one of the top 10 sporting clays facilities. We try to maintain that status at all times. Our sporting clays course is very varied. We have multiple traps at each station, some automatics, some manuals. We always send personnel with each squad that goes out for personal touch and also to give variety of target presentations. We do a lot of repeat business at the facility, so our targets are always varying. We feel it's a great location for the Vintagers event and for New York City also. We're an hour and a half from the city, so it's an easy commute. It's a nice, pretty ride to get up here. There's a lot of things to offer for the non-shooter also.
During the event, you'll find lots of paired guns and actually paired gun events which require loaders, either single guns, which is called stuffing, or paired guns, often referred to as a 2-gun tango. I have Alan Smith with me. He's going to help me to show you how to use paired guns. You shoot a pair of guns originating in England or Europe for high-driven shooting, where the birds would come over in large coveys, and then you'd have to shoot more than one gun to be able to shoot the large number of birds presented. The guns were ejectors, meaning that they throw the cartridges itself, often easy openers, as this pair of guns are. The big danger of exchanging guns is that you clash the barrels, and we're going to just go through a little practice routine, both empty guns. I'm holding the gun as a loader. Alan takes his shots, he cocks the gun back, and I change it, keeping the barrels well away. I'd reload the gun and back into my ready position, and you can see that we keep the barrels well apart. The things that we have to look for when we're doing this, keeping the guns apart, shooting at a nice speed that the loader doesn't get rushed, so that the gun has always got a full gun. In England, the birds are driven, and so the volume of shooting is very fast, and in a drive the birds come over very quickly, and as many as 2,000 to 3,000 birds could come over the guns in a drive. So loading and having a loaded gun is a very essential part of that. Pairs of guns reach or raise the finest of resale values in the fact that they carry a 15 to 20% premium in making them because of the finding matched wood, the Circassian walnut. You had to find 2 matched pieces, and the gunsmith had to get the balance and handling and the trigger pulls, the choking and everything absolutely exact, and this took much more time, and hence the extra money involved in their purchase. We have 2 classic ways of shooting the high-driven clade or the high-driven bird it's simulating. One, Stanbury off the front foot, where the weight's maintained fully on the front foot, and kept there right the way through the shot. The second, Churchill, where you take your weight, transferring it onto the back foot deliberately and shooting off the back foot. Stanbury was a very tall, elegant man and able to maintain the weight on the front foot, and Churchill quite a dumpy, short man, and it was easier for him to transfer weight onto the back foot. Is one better than the other? I prefer Stanbury on the lower presentations, where I take the target at about 70 degrees. On a high bird that I'm taking at 80 degrees or just before the perpendicular, it's far easier to take it off the back foot. It allows me to keep the gun moving at a constant speed and straight on the line of the target. On very high pheasants, more birds are missed offline than ever by lead.
Along with the wonderful atmosphere and serious competition on the grounds, there's virtually everything to do with the finest in wing shooting sport, from the clothing to the guns to the awe-inspiring work of great dogs in the field. This is a true celebration for anyone who fancies fine guns, distinctive clothing, and an appreciation for all that was the shooting sport of the Edwardian era. Welcome to the Vintage Cup, a weekend in upstate New York that brings together those who relish the shooting sports of a bygone era. This is the 9th year of the annual event, now held early each fall on the beautiful shooting grounds of Orvis Sandinona near Millbrook, New York.
The Vintage Cup is a celebration of everything great of the Edwardian period. I particularly like that everybody gets into the atmosphere of it, and they like to dress in the traditional costume of the breeks, as us English, or knickers as the Americans would call them to them, and the tweeds and plaids of that time, collars and ties, the flat caps. Also, they love to use the vintage hammer guns, the traditional gun that was used in that period of 1890 to 1910.
It is a lot of work. It's an 8-pound gun that you're hefting about 60 times in 4 minutes and then swinging, and it is work. And a little bit out of shape, and that makes it a little bit tougher.
One of the great things I love about this show, you can visit some of the greatest gun makers in the world today. And one of the finest British gun makers, and one of the oldest, is Holland & Hollands. Let's have a look what we can find in here. Can you show us something, one of the nice guns, just for us to have a look at?
Here we've got one of our new Royal side-by-side shotguns, which we've been making since about 1898. Changed very little. It incorporates our famous self-opening system, which has been copied by many other gun makers. We make these in 12 bore, 16 bore, 20 bore, 28 bore and 410. This particular gun's got a double trigger, but we can offer it in single trigger as well. It's got the hand detachable lock system, which is removed like this.
We think that farmers became so popular in the US market because of the innovative mechanisms that we have, the fact that they are made on demand, so the client can choose any dimensions he wants, any engraving, and it's a pleasure for us to work with the private client because he can choose everything. Actually, we choose things together. We create the gun he wants.
People coming through the gates are certainly more concentrated. At a show like the CLA Game Fair in the UK, you have arts and crafts, you have fishing. This is very much concentrated on the shooting world, and because of that, people that are coming here are looking to shoot and looking to buy guns.
I have to say that one of my favourites is the black powder, which is absolutely demonstrative of that Edwardian period, but the black powder guns. the smoke that begins to cling and hang in the air, and the spectacular flames spitting from the ends of the barrels. It really is a magnificent sight.
One of the things I like about it is it's so much like what it would have been like, say, a century ago when these guns originally fired. These guns were designed for these shells, and so you get not just the feel of the gun, but also the sounds and sensations that people would have felt 130 odd years ago. So say this gun was built in 1867, you can really get a sense of what someone would have heard and smelled at that time. At the same time, particularly striking is you can imagine 100+ people in some British pheasant drive, all with the smoke and the fire and the noise. It must have just been incredible. You know, here we've got earplugs and safety glasses. It's hard to imagine what it would have been like. People just out there shooting on the moors in England.